Hello everyone, my name is John Odom and I am a drum set and percussion teacher here in East Orlando. And today I am starting a new lesson series. Lesson is going to be with different videos. And I'm going to base my curriculum on the book Stick Control. Now many drummers and drum teachers are familiar with this book, and I realize that some are not. There are certain books, there's a few different books in the world of drumming that are considered to be like the Bible or a must-have for drummers to help you learn the art, of playing drums. And so Stick Control by George Lawrence Stone is certainly one of those books. Now, when he wrote this book several years ago, many years ago, it was really intended to be primarily a book for snare drum, for playing the snare drum and snare drum technique. Through the years, many drummers and also drum teachers have taken this book and taken it beyond just for snare drum. So that's what I'm doing. I've started this with my students, and I have told them, I said, I will film lessons for you guys to help you learn this. And of course, I want to share this with everyone. So what we're going to start with, the first page of exercises in Stick Control is page 5, Now these are all eighth note exercises, Pretty basic. They're all counted the same. What changes in each exercise is the hand pattern between right and left, Now I advise everyone watching this, and I'm telling all my students, the requirement here is to play the hand patterns as written, Don't just try to breeze through them because they're all eighth notes. Very important that you follow the hand patterns as written. Everyone is different. The reason why is that is how you're going to get the full benefit from following these lessons, So how we're going to start this, exercise 1, just single strokes, eighth notes. Now, as we continue, and I recommend from the very first time you practice this, you count eighth notes. How do you count eighth notes? Eighth notes are counted in 4/4 time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So number 1 will be played and counted like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Pretty simple. Now the next step with these exercises, is you're going to play your bass drum on count 1, and you're going to play the bass drum on count 3, like so. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now it's very important as you're counting, make sure that the bass drum and snare drum hit together on count 1. Make sure they hit together on count 3. Try not to play a flam. A flam is 2 different notes, They don't hit simultaneously. We don't want flamming. Now, I understand at the beginning that may happen, but as much as possible, we need to line that bass drum and snare drum up perfectly, The next step in this process is to play your hi-hat with your left foot on count 2 and count 4. Now you might be wondering, well, why would I want to do that? Well, here's the reason why. When you're playing drums, if you're playing on the ride cymbal, your hi-hat is open. You can play it with your left foot, In 4/4 times, when playing 4/4 time, typically we'll play the hi-hat on 2 and 4 with your snare. Now there's other ways to play the hi-hat. I'll get into those later, those exercises. But just for right now, just understand you can play the hi-hat on 2 and 4. Well, when you're playing on the ride cymbal and your hi-hat, you're playing it with your foot. At that point, you're playing 4-way coordination. You've got both feet and both hands involved in playing a rhythmic pattern or a groove. So that's why by practicing these exercises, by getting used to playing your hi-hat on 2 and 4, that will prepare you for playing more advanced grooves, The more grooves you know, the more songs you can play, So this is how you would play The same exercise, this time playing the hi-hat on counts 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? So once you get to where you can play the bass drum on 1 and 3, the hi-hat on 2 and 4, you feel comfortable with that. Okay, now let me say this. Some students might have a hard time going back to the bass drum on 1 and 3. You may have a hard time doing this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Every groove that's played on the drum set, every pattern can be broken down. So if you need to do this, if you need to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, feel free to do so. You can break it down to do 2 beats at a time if you need to. Okay. Some will get this quicker than others. Okay. Some of these patterns will be more challenging. Some of them will be easy. Okay. So it's just whatever works for each person. Okay. All right. So now, number 3, or the next step in this, once you can play, here's how you would play the bass drum on 1 and 3, hi-hat on 2 and 4, same pattern, number 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you at least want to get to that point where you can play the pattern as written, bass drum on 1 and 3, hi-hat on 2 and 4. Once you can do that, the next step is to start practicing with the metronome. Now, why do you want to practice with a metronome? Because as drummers, our main role in a band situation, any type of band, is to keep the tempo steady. Okay? One way we work on that is by practicing with the metronome. Okay? So here it is, and I recommend starting at 60 beats per minute as you go through these exercises. Okay? That's a slow tempo. It's pretty manageable. And I've actually got my metronome set on 1/8 notes for these exercises. And as always, you're going to count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're not only going to play at one tempo, but 60 beats per minute I believe is a good tempo to start with. Okay? All right, looking ahead, number 3 on page 5 of stick control is one of our rudiments, double strokes. Okay, so you can start off. It's just right, right, left, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, incidentally, don't skip any of the exercises. Make sure you play each one. And if one's challenging, that's actually good because we learn and grow when we are challenged more. Okay, not everything's going to be easy on the drum set. So we want to go ahead and spend some time. Now, if you absolutely get stuck on one exercise and then if you want to move past that one and go to the next one, if you're able to play the next one, fine. But go back to the one that challenged you. Go back and don't let that exercise beat you, so to speak. All right? You make sure you master that exercise. Okay? So that's the hand pattern for number 3. Then we add our bass drum on count 1, count 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Once you have that, we're going to add the hi-hat on counts 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then And once you feel comfortable playing the bass drum on 1 and 3, hi-hat on 2 and 4, then we combine everything together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? So we just keep working with these. You keep working with these. This isn't something we have to rush through. Okay, now again, I know there's a lot of drummers out there who will be able to just whiz through these. A lot of drummers can go sit down and go, oh, I can play bass drum and hi-hat easy. Great, go ahead and go through these. All right, but for the beginners, and I teach a lot of beginners, they're not going to be able to do this right away. They've never even, some of them haven't seen stick control until recently. Okay, so I'm going to move on here, and I'm actually going to move my tempo up to 65 beats per minute. And I recommend moving up in 5 BPM increments. Okay, I'm going to go to number 5. Exercise 5 is another one of the rudiments. It's actually one of my favorite rudiments. It's called the paradiddle. Okay, and the pattern for the paradiddle, okay, is right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Okay, great rudiment, very useful. Okay, and so, of course, counting is the same for all 24 exercises on page 5. So it goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Add the bass drum on count 1 and count 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Gonna add the hi-hat on count 2 and count 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm gonna play bass drum, hi-hat, snare all together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Once you feel comfortable with that, and here's one of the things that's going to be a little challenging with some of these exercises is sometimes you're playing right hand and bass drum, or right hand and right foot together. Sometimes you're playing left hand and left foot together. But then other times it crosses. With the paradiddle, sometimes you're playing right hand and right foot, then right hand and left foot, or snare drum and hi-hat. Sometimes it's left hand and hi-hat, and then left hand and right foot, or snare drum and bass drum. Okay, that is coordination. That is building coordination, or I believe it might also even be called cross coordination, when you start crossing, the limbs. Okay. It's what we do when we play drums. So these are really important to work on, improve. That's really why I'm doing this. Okay, is to help all my students and I myself too. All right, to also improve on our coordination, have a better understanding of it. Okay, now we work on coordination. Now we work on timekeeping with the metronome. This is at 65 beats per minute. A little bit faster, right? 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and exercise 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So on and so forth, right? You can go through these several times, okay? I'm going to do one more for this video. Exercise 24. It's the last one on this page. Okay. Interesting combination. All right. It's actually a double stroke. 1 and 2 and then a paradiddle. Okay. So 2 of your rudiments, right? And then the second measure goes left, left, right, left. 2 more double strokes. Then another paradiddle. Okay, so when you have the bass drum on 1 and 3, it's going to be like this. 1, add the hi-hat on 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay. Then when you feel comfortable with that, then add the bass drum and hi-hat, snare drum, play everything together like so. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then once you feel comfortable playing that and it feels steady, you're not struggling to play that, that's when you're ready for the metronome. 65 beats per minute. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So this is how I recommend practicing stick control. Okay, now there are several other foot patterns, and in subsequent lessons I will be going through those, okay, because the drums are possibly the most versatile, definitely one of the most versatile instruments on the planet, okay. But just with the feet, there's several different patterns we can do to continue to build on coordination, okay. So I will be filming another lesson soon. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a great day.